Hey everyone, welcome back. This is a meme video. I just want to make that clear at the start, though it did end up working out a lot better than expected. This Titania setup has actually been sitting on the shelf for a while, and with the advent of the Near mods, it finally actually can be considered somewhat viable. There was supposed to be more to this video, but we were unable to sync up everyone's schedules to make a more stylistic approach. Regardless, there are some couple important announcements in this video, so please stick around. I am a massive fan of this fashion, and it comes provided courtesy of Guift. There are a couple of interesting interactions, but the ultimate purpose of this loadout is to make Titania's Exalted Melee the Diwata's usable in Steel Path. This is Eye of the Storm Diwata. Okay, so what's up about Diwata? It's the commonly forgotten Exalted Melee on Titania's Razor Wing form. There are even some people I've met that never even realize she has an Exalted Melee, or don't recognize the name. Honestly, I'm not surprised, as the weapon itself is rather underwhelming. It is massively punctuated, which is arguably the worst of the three IPSs. It is also barely crit focused with near non-existent status, and because it is a true Exalted Melee, it cannot equip Blood Rush or Weeping Wounds, and will not benefit from those mods on a stat stick either. The lack of these two mods is honestly the reason why the weapon falls into obscurity, because it doesn't have the stats to back up these missing mods. Additionally, her Razor Wing is treated like an Archwing melee, meaning it cannot heavy attack. You can press the button, but it will do the same as a normal melee. Luckily, it does use normal melee mods. This gives us an inkling of hope on how to make it good. Recall our recent BARUUK video. I went over how Exalted Melees have a Gladiator set bug when you start building combo on the Exalted Melee if you've already set up Gladiator stats on the stat stick. Letting combo expire on Desert Wind would wipe all Gladiator stacks provided by the stat stick melee. This was only a problem because Desert Wind doesn't build combo from the Serene Wind waves, and the vast majority of your kills would come from the waves instead of his fists. Diwata doesn't have this problem, because the weapon has to directly hit to do damage. Therefore, we don't need to worry about this bug and can instead build for combo duration. This Diwata has 20 seconds combo duration, which is more than enough for a super active hack and slash playstyle. But this time, the guns we have brought aren't completely random. So let's take a closer look. This is a Ferrox and is meant for throwing the electric trap. This is not meant to be used as a core part of Titania's rotation. The Ferrox functions as a way to start up your rotation in a completely new area or when you die and revive. Its primary function is to CC all the enemies nearby while you set up. It also AoE procs viral and electric on this build, which gives 1 or 2 extra status effects for condition overload. The AoE pulse from the throws unaffected by damage mods, crits, or multi-shot. Therefore, we stacked fire rate to increase pulse frequency and elementals to proc desired elements. I don't really remember why I put internal bleeding here, but whatever. I haven't touched this build in quite a while. The Arcane is primary dexterity, to grant both your stat stick melee and Diwata an extra 7.5 seconds combo. If you do need to use the Ferrox, you hold down the alt-fire button to charge up the ring and throw it. The periodic pulse it creates is unaffected by primed firestorm as well, but anything caught in the radius will slowly be drawn in and stunned with electric procs while also getting viral stacks. The pistol, I'm bringing today's epitaph, but it can be literally anything. You generally won't be using it since you will be in Razor Wing, but its purpose is to act as an auger, set bonus stat stick, and a secondary dexterity arcane holder for another 7.5 seconds to your melee, stat stick, and Diwata. If you do want a primer build, just pick the proper elements as desired. Remember, most of the time, you won't be able to use it. The melee stat stick, a whip. For the same reasons as the BARUUK video. Nearest Contempt, the third Near mod, is only equipable on whips, and the set bonus gives us up to 300% base damage to all melee attacks. Yes, that's right, all melee attacks and not just slam damage. Anyways, the rest of the build is just filled with combo duration, extra combo chance, attack speed, and Gladiator mods for the set bonus. The Gladiator set bonus acts like a budget Blood Rush for Diwata since you can't equip Blood Rush on it. You'll be sliding around with this weapon, easily build up to 220 combo for 11 Gladiator stacks, which will funnel into your Diwata's crit chance scaling. As the combo duration is 45.5 seconds on the setup, it will take 182 seconds, or 3 minutes and 2 seconds, to drop down 1 Gladiator stack. The total Gladiator set bonus is 50% per combo multiplier, so 11 stacks would grant Diwata a total extra 110% final crit chance. But you don't reach 200% crit chance for guaranteed oranges regardless on this loadout, so feel free to come out of Razor Wing whenever you want to rebuild whip combo. Realistically, you should only have to do this about once every 10 minutes or so. While you can normally build Dex Pixia for DPS, this time we are building it as a primer. Yes, Dex Pixia is a good DPS weapon, but it is also a good primer because of the status weight. There's one scenario where Dex Pixia can have problems, and this arises frequently in Steel Pants Survival. Dex Pixia can run out of bullets and you'll need to wait a moment for the bullets to recharge. Because the Steel Path enemies are pretty tanky, while Dex Pixia can kill them, it takes a fair amount of shots and you will frequently find yourself backing off to recharge. Diwata doesn't have this problem because it is a melee. The only question is, can we supply it with enough damage to be viable? I wouldn't take this Titania setup to endurance, but the Diwata I will show you today is absolutely strong enough to handle base Steel Path easily. Plus, Diwata needs all the help we can get, and Dex Pixia is the easiest and best option for that since it is always present when you're in Razor Wing. This is a viral setup with maximum status. It also has bonus fire rate. While normally too much fire rate makes the Dex Pixia annoying to use since it bottoms out so fast, it is fine here since as a priming tool means it will be reloading every single time you are meleeing. Seeker is essential to spread viral procs more effectively through the crowd. And finally, we slotted Magnum Force to intentionally increase the spread of the weapon and cause it to hit more enemies. This turns our pistols into flak turrets that just hit everything in a wide area. Now the Diwata build, while we originally started with a pure electric shattering impact setup, the status chance on Diwata just proved too low to take advantage of electric chaining in crowds. While it matched or even surpassed Rock Corrosive at the start, it fell far behind against stragglers that survived the initial electric chains before the newer mods came into play, so therefore I originally settled on a boring old corrosive setup. Both because of the primed elemental advantage, proc stripping armor, and corrosive typing also ignoring 75% of ferrite armor and damage calculations. Keep in mind that Blood Rush and Weeping can't be slotted on Diwata, meaning it is heavily dependent on raw damage output. Shattering Impact is required for this weapon to scale beyond base Steel Path. While it won't kill level cap in any decent amount of time, I do imagine it won't have any issues with enemies in the sub 600 range. Just remember that Shattering Impact does not require impact procs, it only requires the damage instance to do impact damage. Voltaic Strike should be Shocking Touch, but I have polarity problems. We are only missing roughly 10% of our total DPS, so this will still be relatively accurate representation of a full build. Because we have 5 Gladiator mods on the loadout to grant us 110% final crit chance, we should slot Organ Shatter to take advantage of the guaranteed crits and frequent oranges. Sacrificial Steel combined with the Gladiator mods allows our total crit chance to reach 174. Remember, it takes 3 minutes for you to lose a Gladiator stack, and each stack only represents a total loss of 10% final crit chance. The Primed Smite is just a flat 55% more total damage, since our Raw Corrosive setup has no dots and can't double dip the Bane. Primed Reach is extremely important because the Diwata melee auto-homes on enemies and teleports you to them. If you do not slot range, you will not be able to hit more than one enemy at once. This is a massive DPS increase because it is the difference between hitting one enemy, or 2 to 4. Also, because it homes in, I would generally recommend aiming at head level, this way you will hit multiple heads with a single swing. Otherwise it goes for center mass and you lose damage. Condition Overload is the last essential mod on the build since we will be priming with Dex Pixia, which will consistently proc 4 to 5 status effects and is equivalent to 320 to 400% base damage scaling. If Ferrox and Epitaph comes into play, this can increase the procs towards 6 to 9 for 480 to 720% base damage scaling. But really, you'll only be using those two weapons when you're setting up a new Razor Wing rotation. With a combo duration of 20 seconds from the 2 combo Dexterity Arcanes, and minimal combo decay if you're on Nearmon for Power Spike, you won't have to worry about combo bug problems for Diwata. So now for the big question, how do we build this Titania? It is a mix of utility and stat stick mods with a tad of strength scaling. The most important part here is slotting Brief Respite as the aura since we don't need melee guidance like BARUUK did. If you want to see why BARUUK wants that aura, click the card at the top right for the best BARUUK of 2022. These newer mods are probably familiar to you now, since they are featured in my Neferi, Corum, and Verdilac builds, both Flash Step and Grim Reaper Nyx build, and my most recent BARUUK build. Basically, these mods give base damage to all melee attacks while using Warframe mod slots instead. Weapon mod slots are much more valuable than Warframe mod slots. So this set bonus is extremely appealing. We don't need too much range on the build since we will either be going directly to enemies or pulling enemies to us, so I have left it neutral. You can also use your 3 to draw AI pathing in, as it has an attraction radius of 20 meters at base range. Breach Surge will also blind enemies still within 18 meters radius. Efficiency has been left neutral because I'm actually using her 1's Augment Spellbound Harvest to grant us energy instead of completely relying on Energize or Equilibrium. This is our stopgap to fixing our energy problems if we play more aggressive, as with 199 strength, it will always cost 25 energy to give us 99.5 back so long as it tags 4 enemies. With the amount of grouping we have accessible in a cast radius of 5 meters, this won't be hard to accomplish at all. We have built for strength for several reasons. Umbral Intensify and Transient Fortitude. This 199 strength both doubles all of Razorwing's damage and also doubles the damage multiplier on Breach Surge and energy regained by Spellbound Harvest. We do need some duration though, so that she isn't as spam heavy, since her energy consumption can be a bit much, hence Prime Continuity. It is a nice touch with Nir's Hatred also to give some duration as well. This Nir's Anguish mod can be rank 0 on this build, as we don't have much use for the actual mod itself besides the set bonus. Rolling Guard is handy for getting status effects off your back and also covering for when your shield breaks. Then cast Breach Surge and you're good to go with full shields again. The 2 Gladiator mods are here to add just a tiny bit more crit chance scaling on your Diwata. 12 stacks gets you to 174 crit chance, like I said. If the Nier mod set bonus ever gets nerfed, just slot Gladiator Resolved over Nir's Hatred. You will get a bit more HP to cover mistakes, but really it's a tiny bonus on Steel Path. But the 6 Gladiator mod will push your total crit up to 196% and give you basically only oranges on Diwata. Arcane Strike is necessary since we couldn't fit it on the weapon itself due to wanting Shattering Impact. It will proc Nier instantly due to the high fire rate of Dex Pixia priming and punch through, as well as Prime Reach equipped on our Diwata, letting us hit tons of enemies quickly. Operator Arcanes today? Our budget group Arcane, Mega's Anomaly, to go along with Lantern. This will help immensely with getting enemies closer and within range of Breach Surge and our melee attacks. Tighter grouped enemies also means we get the most out of Prime Reach to hit several of them at once. The natural pathing due to Lantern will help the pull better as well. Anomaly spam also synergizes well with Mega's Elevate, our other Operator Arcane, to heal up, as Titania isn't particularly tanky and chip damage eats into your HP very quickly on Steel Path. She is otherwise reliant on her evasion stat and Razorwing, shield gating, and blinds from Breach Surge, so when you're pulling enemies in, you are also free healing. The companion? Stock Panzer with this build. I don't think I should have to explain how Panzer works at this point, and it also doesn't really offer much to this build since Dex Pixia already primes Viral very well with Punch Through, though the infinite Panzer lives will mean you will always have enemy radar and vacuum. As a bonus, so long as your cat doesn't get one-shot, which Tech Assault will help you avoid, your Diwata spam will be able to heal your Panzer up due to Pack Leader. And that's it. The Eye of the Storm Titania Diwata build. While it is a raw damage setup, it really is all we could get to work consistently for base Steel Path. It has some scaling potential, but not much, and would also be reliant on actually using priming consistently and efficiently. Luckily, survival scales very slowly, so you will be able to use this loadout for the first hour in Steel Path survival easily. However, the KPS on this build is just barely not enough. Expect to still need to use support towers, as I could only last roughly 15 minutes on this Titania before life support ran out. However, it is completely lethal to Acolytes and shreds them near instantly. Another tip I would recommend is if the particles and lighting are too much for you, you can set the frame energy color to black. This will set both Diwata, Dex Pixia, and your ability cast to all black, which should be helpful for the zoom perspective of Razorwing. In theory, with the Nier mod set, Electric might actually be strong enough now against stragglers to still be viable, but I feel Diwata shines best without being 100% reliant on grouping always for impressive DPS. It should pull ahead in group killing though, now that the Nier set bonus is active. And this is the special announcement part. I have a couple things to say today. First one is about the Nier mods. Yes, it may be a bug, but what of it? It takes almost no investment to use. You could even use rank 0 Nier mods like I said on both of these here. It doesn't even cost extra Forma. If anything, it saves 1 Forma compared to a normal Titania build. Or maybe because you're afraid you might get banned? When was the last time anyone was ever banned because they use a bugged mod? Never. The worst that will happen is maybe one day it will get patched, and it didn't even cost Forma. If you haven't noticed, there has never been a single thing patched as a result of the videos I've published on my channel in the past 1.5 years. Just think about that. DE doesn't care about these things. DE doesn't care about my channel. If they did, they would have nerfed Desert Wind already. They would have nerfed a bunch of things already. Actually, in fact, that Chromazada video that people saying are getting nerfed, it's over a month old now and it still works. If anything, I'm pretty sure DE actively dislikes me. What I would say is take what you can get in the game and enjoy it. You're here to have fun. If you aren't having fun, then don't play. It's simple as that. Games are meant to be a pastime. Some people are here for loot, some people are here to mess around with builds. At the end of the day, to me, loot loses importance at endgame. I'm one of the ones only here left to play with builds. If something gets patched, if it no longer works anymore, does that mean it wasn't worth it? That your forma went to waste? No, because what you got out of it is fun. You don't use a build so that it is viable forever, becomes the ultimate build, the new meta. No, you use a build because it is fun and you enjoy using it. For you. For now, because this is what you wanted to spend your time doing. Now. Not later, but now. Warframe is not real life. Remember that. You don't need to treat it like one. You can live in the moment. And for those saying my builds are too difficult to use, I ask you again, why do you think I put out so many builds? Because some I like for myself, just like some others I don't necessarily like, and I don't expect you to like them all also. What I wish for is that my builds make you rethink game mechanics, beyond just using the Brahma, and find joy in the game itself again. The mechanics available, and beyond just mindlessly min-maxing grinding for the next fastest loot possible. Yes, some people are short on time, I understand that, but remember, each creator fills their own niche. Me? I offer a way to explore and cover every niche build possible in the game. It is not meant for new players. It is not even necessarily meant for endgame players either, as much as some of you may want to believe. Rather, it is meant for people with an open mind willing to explore the game, whether new or old, if you just want to try something different. But of course, for those of you who will ask, why do you cover the new weapons then? Well, that's because I need to cover new game content, because we need to grow. I never ask anything in my community, but do keep in mind I am a full-time creator. The only reason I can even provide this content is because of the time I have available to do so, and I'm also entirely reliant on my channels to keep myself afloat. Just think on that for a second. I hope this clears up any misconceptions on what my channel is meant for, and also why I do things the way I do. Why else do you think not every single video I put out isn't meant to be the new nuke meta? Actually, let's do an experiment. If you made it this far in the video, start your comment with your favorite frame. Tell me why you still play this game and what keeps you coming back. I'll be waiting and responding as always. Now, for the second announcements, I wanted to poll my community first before moving forward with this, and I've thought about it for a while. I've had several people contact me about it being cool that I also now stream live on Twitch, but that for one reason or another, some people are against Twitch as a corporate entity itself, can never catch my streams due to time zones, are unfamiliar with Twitch culture and don't want to get involved, or among several other things. But that you still want to support me. Now, what do you think of me opening up channel memberships over here as well? You will still have access to the same emotes over as on Twitch, however just keep in mind I'm unable to livestream here due to Twitch rules. Alternatively, I'm looking to set up a coffee landing page soon in the near future. But yes, this year is going to be a big one for us. We'll be ramping up our uploads and also streaming more often on Twitch if you want to see how my builds and testing for videos happens live. As well as answer any questions you may have, or just a good time, you can drop me a follow and see our community on the other side with a link here in the description or also the pinned comments. Our Twitch is also geared more towards variety, so we will be trying other games and not just Warframe. We're also very close to Twitch partner now, so I truly appreciate each and every one of you that shows up. I stream every Monday around 6 PM ET, and generally at least one other weekday at the same time. Bonus weekend streams as well, but with the rate things are currently going, expect to see me live 3 to 4 times a week moving forward. If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like, or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always, as soon as possible, like I'm done with covering all of this new war stuff. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.